Hey guys, welcome back to another one of these videos where I go through problem solving and try and teach problem solving as best I can, because this right here I would argue is just a grade 4 question, but as you can see it looks a lot more complicated than that, because it's problem solving that builds up this to a full-on 5-mark question. So again, before we get started, most people that watch these aren't subscribed, so if you are interested, or at least if you found any of them useful, I would really appreciate subscribing. There's a link to my website and to my email address in the description where you can kind of ask for tutoring, or you can ask any other questions that you may have, and I have some other useful stuff on the website as well. But let's get into this. Again, if you find this useful, I would appreciate some comments in the comment section, I guess, just mentioning this, because again, I think this is an interesting idea about teaching you problem solving. The reason why problem solving is so useful is because it expands across all topics, but also other subjects as well. So science as well has a lot of problem solving in it, as an example. So it says here, machine parts made by cutting a small square from the center of a large square piece of steel. So this white area has been cut out basically. The dimensions of the machine part shown on the diagram. So as you can see, it's squares because the sides are the same. And it says the perimeter of the small square is 2/3 of the perimeter of the large square. Work out the length of a side of the small square. So again, for me, the maths here is really simple, and the problem solving, of course, for me is not that difficult, but it's the problem solving that's the hardest part here. In reality, if I gave you the algebraic equation that you get, even if you're getting grade 4s or 5s, you could easily approach this. So it's the problem solving that's the tricky bit. Now, this is why I decided to make these videos on problem solving, because problem solving is actually something a lot of you can get really, really good at, and it's really useful for real life and for any other subjects you want to do in the future. So, how do we approach problem solving? Well, the first thing I see is there is no way for me to work out what x plus 4 is straight away. Okay? But they give me this piece of information. Now, when you come across problems or riddles or whatever, they have to be possible. They have to give you enough information to solve the problem. In real life, if you have a problem, it's good to assume that there's enough information to solve the problem, or that you can get information in order to solve it. So, they would not have given me this if they didn't expect me to use it. The perimeter of the small square is 2/3 perimeter of the large square. So what I would do is I would write down the perimeter of the small and large square respectively. So let's write small. So what's the perimeter of the small square? Well, to work out perimeter of a square, you just add up all 4 sides. And all 4 sides are the same. And if you have repeated addition, that means you could just do 4 times one side. Whatever you want to do. So I'm going to do 4 times one side. It's going to be 4x plus 16. Now again, if you added these up separately, you would get the exact same answer. For the large square, it's going to be the exact same thing. It's going to be 4 lots of this top side, because again, it'd be 3x plus 4, 3x plus 4, 3x plus 4, 3x plus 4. So let's do 4. Which gives me the expression 12x plus 16. And let's do, yeah, so those two are equal there. Okay, so I've done that. Again, at the end of the video, I'm going to show you exactly where you get your marks. So don't worry just yet, but do know that we have got a mark already for finding the correct expression for at least one perimeter. Now, we haven't actually used the whole of the information, because it says the perimeter of the small square is 2/3 the perimeter of the large square. So what does that mean? It means we can actually equate these two things. We can say this: the small square is 2/3 the big square. That's what it says, right? The perimeter of the small square is 2/3 of the perimeter of the large square. So I've literally just read what it says. And now all you need to do, if we think about it, if we want to work out the length of one side of the small square, x plus 4, so again, what we're trying to find is x plus 4, then the logical thing to do would be to solve this, which will give me x, and then just add 4 to it. There you go, that's your method. So, in terms of solving this, there's loads of things you could do. You could take 2/3 of both of these. The problem is you can't divide 16 by 3. So what I would probably do is I would actually times both sides by 3 first. Because that makes my life a bit easier. Taking 2/3 of 16, you can do it, right? 32 over 3, but it's a bit ugly. Whereas if I times both sides by 3, we get 4x times 3, 12x. 16 times 3 is 48. Don't forget, when we times both sides by 3, we times everything on this side by 3. And on this side, well, what's 2/3 times 3? It's just 2. So that's quite a useful little trick. Then we can expand, rearrange, all that fun stuff. So 12x plus 48. Expand the stuff on the right-hand side. 2 times 12x is 24x. 2 times 16 is 32. And I'm going to move the x's to the right side and the numbers to the left. So it's minus 12x on both sides. We get 48 equals 12x plus 32 minus 32 from both sides. I should say, so why did I decide to move the the x's to the right side? In general, people hate negative numbers, myself included. If I minus 24x from both sides, I'd get negative 12x on the left. So instead, I got rid of the smaller x to ensure that everything stays positive, which is quite nice. So you are free in an exam to stop here and think, okay, how can I not get any negatives? Well, if I move the 12x over and the 32 over, nothing will be negative. So we get 16 equals 12x. So that means x is equal to 16 over 12. And we can divide that both by 4 to get 4 over 3 equals x. So the length of the small side, so small side equals x plus 4. So that equals 4 over 3 plus 4. So what I would do here is I would make this over 1, times that by 3. So we get 4 over 3 plus 4 times 3, which is 12 over 3. So we get 16 over 3. And that is my answer. So you could also give that in terms of a mixed fraction, but in this case it doesn't actually tell you to give it as a mixed fraction, so I don't really care. But let's show you the mark scheme and let's see where we get our marks, shall we? So they gave their answer as a mixed number, but again it just says it's fine, right? You get the same thing, it doesn't make a difference. And let's have a look. The first thing I want to make clear is it does say or here. So these are two separate methods. So I'm going to put that, I probably should use like a red line or something, but you know, we all make mistakes. M1 for a correct expression for at least one perimeter. Well, we've got both perimeters, so we will get at least, well, we get 1 mark, right? M1 for 4x plus 16 equals 2/3 12x plus 16. So in other words, when we equated them using the information here, then it says basically just for either expanding or rearranging, so that's quite nice. Answer for 4/3 and 4/3 plus 4. So we get another mark for actually getting the x equals 4/3. We get a mark for beginning the process of expanding, which is what we did. And lastly, we get a mark for doing 4/3 plus 4, which gave us an answer. And again, here it says 5 and 1/3, but it's equivalent, so that doesn't matter. The other answer is, again, we don't really need to care about it anyway. But again, hopefully that gives you a better idea of the problem solving here. The key takeaways, and this is something I really try and hammer home constantly, is they have to give you enough information to do the question. Which means every sentence, there might be some information there. The second thing is they never give you useless information. So you might think, well, this is useless, all measurements are in centimetres. Well, not really, because it is a length, so technically we should have written centimetres. Again, this first sentence is describing what's happening here. The perimeter of the, again, we used both of these things here. So, again, it's all about remembering those two things. They have to give you enough information, and the information is always useful, because they don't give you extra information that you don't really need. Again, if you found that useful, please do let me know in the comments, and again, do consider subscribing if you found that interesting, useful, or anything else, and I'll see you in the next one.